My dad died a few days ago, and I'm mourning him. There were some difficulties with getting my family to organize a celebration of life for him, so it's mainly fallen to me. On top of this, I have a 2-month deadline to submit a research paper for my job before my contract is up. Afterwards, I will have to move to another research institute, likely not in the same country. Finally, I have recently developed frequent gastrointestinal pain, which is negatively impacting my quality of life. My girlfriend went to Europe to visit her sister and travel/tour/sightsee. She booked her vacation long before my dad passed and flew out before then as well. I was with my dad in the hospital for around 14 hours the day before he died. I called her to talk to her and she was supportive and spent a long time on the phone with me. 2 days later, however, while she's out touring, she sent me pictures of jewelry in the local shops that she likes in order to train me to understand her style. I wasn't very responsive to this, but she seemed adamant that I understand her preferences. The next day, she sent me another picture of jewelry, and I also wasn't very responsive. She picked up on this and asked what was wrong, so I told her, "My dad just died, so jewelry shopping is not going to register in my mind." After this, she apologized, and I told her I knew she wasn't trying to be insensitive, but that there was a time and place for things like this. As far as I was concerned, the issue was settled. This morning, she messages me and tells me that she doesn't like the way I talked to her yesterday about the jewelry, and that it's better if we don't talk rather than dealing with our issues over text. She said she knows that I have a lot going on, but that she also has her reasons for sending me messages. I don't know what these reasons are, but I feel hurt by this. From my perspective, my dad just died. Much of the death arrangements have fallen to me. I'm weeks behind on work, and my girlfriend's biggest concern is that I told her I didn't want to talk about jewelry or consider it important. I thought the issue was settled, but evidently, it wasn't settled for her. I feel like she has been insensitive and hasn't considered the issues I am facing, even though she knows about all of them.
Comment 1. NTA. Sorry for your loss. Your girlfriend sounds very self-centered, sending your partner jewelry ideas literally a couple of days after their parent dies is an asshole thing to do. And yet she thinks there's a problem with how you spoke to her. She sounds awful. Don't let her manipulate you into apologizing. She is in the wrong. Who cares about her reasons? I can't think of one that would excuse this. There's a time and a place. Comment 2. NTA. She was wrong to text you about jewelry when you were in deep mourning, but then travel can be very distracting. Telling her there was a time and place for things like this, after she had already apologized, might have felt to her like more of a scolding than she needed, and why she then overreacted. It sounds, TBH, like there are other pre-existing tensions at play, and how much of that is your responsibility and how much of it is yours is between the two of you to figure out. But for her to make any kind of a deal of it at all when your dad has just died, is deeply insensitive. Only you know if that's in or out of character for her. Incredibly sorry for your loss. Comment 3. NTA. She's likely sending you pictures of her jewelry taste as an engagement hint, something completely ill-timed and self-centered and a major red flag. Is she this self-centered in the rest of your relationship? Since she feels it's better if you don't talk, maybe take this time to focus on what's truly important. The unfortunate loss of your father, his celebration of life, and your work, and most importantly, your well-being and mental health. My brother was married for 20 years, married young, and 3 kids with wife number 1, AJ, passed away 7 months ago at 22, CJ, 21M, and Alice, 19F. He cheated on his ex-wife and the affair was discovered when his current wife was pregnant with their second child together. He also had a 20-month-old at the time the affair was discovered. AJ, CJ and Alice were still minors at the time, so shared custody was set up and they spent an equal amount of time with my brother and with their mom. The kids hated this. They were clear from the moment the affair came to light that they would never accept my brother's other children or his current wife. All 3 went no contact with my brother upon their 18th birthdays and refused all contact. AJ became ill last year and he passed away 7 months ago. My brother was not told. AJ passed before he learned this. I knew, and so did my younger brother, because we were close to our nephews and niece, and we're still close to our former Sil, who was always like a sister to us. Losing AJ was one of the hardest things. He had so much life ahead of him, and he was about to become a dad, something my brother was also unaware of. AJ had prepared for his passing. He had written up a will. Most of everything he had went to his son, who was born 6 weeks after he died. But he shared personal possessions with his siblings, CJ and Alice, and his mom. He made it very clear in his will he was not leaving anything to my brother or my brother's other children. My brother was upset that he was kept in the dark about AJ's illness. Even more so when he found out AJ was expecting a child with his girlfriend, and then more when AJ planned a very private funeral so my brother and his family could not attend. When it came to light, AJ left nothing to my brother or the younger children. My brother became more distraught. He asked CJ and Alice, he reached out and asked them if he could have some of AJ's trinkets that he always kept, something he could pass to the other kids. They said no way in hell. This is when my brother tried to involve me. He told me to think of my younger niece and nephew and asked me to convince CJ and Alice to let them have something of AJ's. I told him no. He said I needed to do something because they needed something to remember AJ by. He told me to do whatever it takes. I told him I won't bully his kids for him. He said I was exaggerating and he never even suggested that. Comment 1. NTA. I suspect your brother is using his children to get something that belonged to AJ, may he rest in peace for himself, as opposed to the very flimsy story he's telling. He made his choice and these are the consequences, and I think it says a lot about your brother's character that he's willing to harass not only his other children while they're grieving the loss of their brother but also you. He's proving he still cares only for himself. I would not lift a finger to help him and would have some very firm words with him if he continued to push issue. He's been told no. He needs to accept that. ETA, I'm very sorry for your loss. Sending internet hugs. Comment 2. NTA. But your brother is and keeps adding to his assholeness. Some people just don't get it. When they cheat on their spouse, they are also cheating on everyone else who counts on that relationship for love, support, and stability. He betrayed his kids with his infidelity. There are consequences for that and for them too. He needs to grow up and accept that he's missed a lot and will miss much, much more because of his selfishness, cowardice, and callousness towards his children. Comment 3. NTA. He chose to stick his dick into that other woman, and the kids have zero relationship with him, so they will be fine. If your brother starts to harass his children, you tell them to leave it to you. You'll probably have to be the one who starts the process of getting him restrained. Hopefully, he doesn't know where anyone lives except perhaps you, so maybe only one order might be needed. My 55M daughter, 19F, is taking 3 online summer classes this summer. Back in April, she told me that all her classes would be in person, so I paid for her summer housing and meal plan so she could live on campus. I didn't think much of it at the time because I trusted her. 2 of them are general education classes, English and physics, and 1 is a major specific class, so I figured that she would want to get her generation requirements out of the way, and I'm sure the major specific class is important for her major. However, I just found out that her classes are actually all online. There is a third-party website that has information about classes each semester at her college, and I was just scrolling through it out of curiosity and happened to see her classes are all online, with no in-person component. I was very shocked about how I was misled for the last 2 or 3 months. I know that she really likes campus life, but things do tend to tone down over the summer, and she probably is aware of the campus housing fees and whatnot. This means I spent a good amount of money for housing and meal plans that she didn't actually need. I'm paying for her education out of her college savings, which we've been saving for many years, and I want to teach her the value of money and the importance of honesty. I was on the phone with her, and I told her I decided that I'm not paying for her housing or any of her campus fees next year. I emphasized that she needs to understand that there are consequences to her actions. However, she is really upset and says that I'm being too harsh. She says that in April the classes were listed as in person but they moved it to virtual at the very last minute, after the deadline for housing withdrawal and refund stuff. I don't know if this is actually true since I never bothered to check the class listings at that time and I didn't see a reason she would lie about it. I told her I'm very skeptical that they would move all classes to online at the very last minute because it would certainly disrupt some people's plans, especially those who lease off campus. My wife said that what I told her was way too harsh, and that unexpected things do happen. Comment 1, YTA. This is money already saved and earmarked for college. It did not stretch your annual budget. She didn't lie and use the money to go on vacations or shopping sprees. She used the money for its intended purpose, college. You are just offended that she stayed on campus instead of coming home for the summer. And, yes, it is entirely plausible that the classes were switched to online post-enrollment. Especially if they didn't get the enrollment needed to hold them in person. But taking away her housing for the fall semester, which you know she needs, is just a cruel power move on your part. No wonder she picked summer school over coming home if this is the way you parent. Comment 2. YTA. It's definitely possible the college moved all the classes online at the last minute. As a professor, I've been hired to teach classes literally a week before the semester started. Things in academia are way more chaotic than we'd like them to be. I've also had this happen to fellow professors where classes were cancelled or moved online last minute. Yeah, she should have told you when they moved online, but it seems like you never made it clear her living on campus was only an option if classes were in person. Choosing to not pay for an entire year of housing as a response, putting her in debt most likely, is a huge overreaction. Comment 3. Did you want her to come home for summer so you could lord over her? Because it sounds like you're mad she messed up your plans for her summer, and now you want to make he pay. See, doesn't sound like it's about the online courses at all. She could prefer studying at school, even if it ISS online only. Maybe when she's home you don't give her any peace and that's why she wanted to stay there instead. Sounds like you're mad she chose to stay at school instead of come home. But she's still studying. Do you love your money so much? I am looking for advice on how to kindly explain to my future mill why she was not invited to my bridal appointment. I went to a sample sale back in December and wound up buying the first dress I tried on. My 2 sisters and my mom were in the entourage. The dress was 60% off and was what I was looking for: simple, no lace, no beading, no mesh, fit and flare with a train, so it was a no-brainer that it was the one. My expectations were low as I was worried there would not be a sample gown that would fit me, but this dress was it. Now on to my future Mel. She has been so bitter this entire planning process and makes a face of disgust every time we show her our wedding plans, hates the colors, the venue, the food, the photographer. You name it, she will find something about it that she does not like. I hate what I see when I look in the mirror, so I was not mentally prepared for her inevitable criticisms of the dress, as, in my opinion, it is in a way a criticism of my body. My fiancé disagreed and said she would never be so harsh about my looks, but I do not feel that way. She would not have liked the experience. She would have talked me out of this dress. My future Mill is not one to buy something on the spot. She would have wanted me to go home and think on it before buying it. Now, this is practical, but not how the sample sale worked, as you had to say yes on the spot, otherwise it would go to another bride. She also would not have been able to see my vision, as the dress still needed alterations. For these reasons, I knew taking her along to the appointment would have resulted in tears, confusion, and not finding a dress. I swear I intended to take her to the next shopping trip, which wound up not being necessary, and if she had not started giving me the silent treatment, I was going to take her to a bridal fitting. Now here is where I might be the R. Since getting the dress without her present, her negative comments have gotten much worse and I have started getting my guard up as soon as we start talking about the wedding with her. It is to the point where I cannot even handle constructive criticism from her because I am in full fight or flight mode when she is around. I am honestly not sure who is giving who the silent treatment at this point, but we have stopped talking to each other. Tomorrow we are supposed to go have a talk with my fiancé present, and I need to explain to her with a calm head why things have changed between us. I feel like this all could have been avoided if she had just come to the damn bridal appointment in the first place, and if I had a spine, I could have just ignored her comments and bought the dress anyways. Comment 1. NTA, obviously, and if you aren't in therapy already, please get yourself there soon. The fact that you're seriously entertaining the notion, but if I just let this person who is mean and abusive toward me have their way, maybe they wouldn't be so mean and abusive toward me, is alarming. You will presumably be dealing with this nasty woman for the rest of her natural life, and the time to set clear boundaries with her is right now. Don't let her walk into that wedding ceremony with the impression that she's got a new surrogate child she can push around and demean. Comment 2. NTA. Granny here, who shopped and picked out my wedding dress, on sale, by myself. This was in the days before that ridiculous Say Yes to the Dress show, where apparently brides are incapable of picking out a dress without an entourage. Pay attention to how your fiancé responds to his mother's behavior. I know more than one person who had a mill who made her life miserable, while Sonny was trying to keep his mother and his wife happy, by staying neutral. Do you love him enough to put up with her? Does she realize that how she treats you will impact her access to future grandchildren? Good luck.